What if I told you there's a car in the US that logged 3.2 million miles? Not because it was super expensive, but because its owner treated every single mile like it mattered. That's not luck. That's not magic. That's a habit. Today we're going to show you 10 habits that can push your car past 500,000 miles without major repairs. These aren't expensive hacks or risky tricks. These are proven real-world practices that drivers who reach insane mileage all have in common. Why should you care? Because repairs eat while it's alive. A transmission replacement alone can cost $3,000 to $6,000. An engine rebuild? Even more. And the truth is, mileage kills value. But if you can keep your car reliable for longer, you not only save thousands, you also squeeze every last drop of value from your investment. Also stay tuned because after habit number 10, I'll reveal a bonus habit that most drivers ignore. And it just might be the difference between a car that dies at 200,000 miles and one that still roars at 500,000. Let's get into it. If there's one rule that separates cars that die young from cars that outlive their owners, it's this. Follow the maintenance schedule exactly as the manufacturer recommends. Every car comes with a factory service schedule: oil changes, transmission fluid swaps, timing belt intervals, spark plugs, coolant flushes, and when to check suspension parts. These aren't random suggestions, they're engineered based on years of testing to predict when parts will wear out. Ignore them and you're gambling with your car's future. Take timing belts for example. Many cars need them to be changed around 60,000 to 100,000 miles. Skip that and one snap could bend valves, destroy pistons, and leave you with a dead engine that costs thousands to rebuild. Or consider oil changes. Push them too far and sludge will choke your engine, killing it long before 500,000 miles. The drivers who hit 500,000 miles all have one thing in common: discipline. They don't wait until something breaks, they replace it before it does. The habit alone buys them hundreds of thousands of extra miles. But doing scheduled service isn't enough. What you drive and how you drive also make or break your car's lifespan. Your car is only as strong as the parts you feed it. Cutting corners with cheap oil, off-brand filters, or bargain bin replacement parts might save money today, but it'll cost you dearly in the long run. Use the wrong grade or a low-quality formula, and you lose the protection that keeps moving parts from grinding themselves to death. The difference between synthetic oil from a trusted brand and the cheapest jug on the shelf can mean thousands of hours of extra life for your engine. Filters are just as critical. A cheap oil filter that clogs or leaks doesn't just shorten oil life, it lets dirt circulate through the system, scarring metal surfaces. The same goes for air and fuel filters. And when it comes to replacement parts, sticking to OEM or trusted aftermarket brands ensures the tolerance and durability match what your car was designed for. People who drive their cars to 500,000 miles don't gamble on mystery parts, they invest in quality, and the return is longevity. Alright, part quality matters, but even a perfect engine won't last if your driving style is abusive. Want your car to survive 500,000 miles? Treat it like a partner, not a punching bag. Aggressive driving destroys vehicles faster than almost anything else. Harsh acceleration floods the engine with extra fuel, spikes temperatures, and strains pistons and bearings. Slamming the brakes wears pads, rotors, and suspension parts at lightning speed. Revving high for no reason doesn't make your car stronger, it just accelerates wear. And lugging the engine, forcing it to work hard at very low RPMs can cause knocking and premature damage. Smooth driving does the opposite. Gradual acceleration, consistent speed, and moderate RPMs keep components working within their comfort zone. Real-world fleet studies have shown that vehicles driven gently can last hundreds of thousands of miles longer than identical vehicles driven aggressively under the same conditions. The truth is that longevity isn't about how fast you can get somewhere, it's about how far you can go without breaking down. Smooth driving helps, but what about small details that you might overlook every day? Think of your car's fluids as its lifeblood. Ignore them and even the toughest engine will fail long before 500,000 miles. Start with coolant. Overheating is one of the fastest ways to kill an engine. Fresh coolant not only regulates temperature, it also prevents corrosion inside the radiator and engine block. Old coolant loses its protective properties, leading to clogged passages and failing head gaskets. Transmission fluid is just as vital. It lubricates gears, prevents overheating, and keeps shifts smooth. Run it too long and friction tears apart the transmission from the inside, a repair that often costs more than the car's worth. Brake fluid, power steering fluid, and differential oils are often forgotten, yet they play critical roles. Old contaminated fluid means fading brakes, stiff steering, or grinding gears. And don't forget the supporting cast. Hoses, belts, caps, and seals. A tiny leak today can spiral into a seized engine tomorrow. Fluids are the life. literally, of your car, but dirt and air can kill parts too. Every breath your engine takes passes through an air filter. Every drop of gasoline passes through a fuel filter, and every ride you take goes through a cabin filter. Ignore these and you choke the system. A clogged air filter restricts airflow, forcing the engine to work harder, wasting fuel and building deposits on valves and pistons. A dirty fuel filter lets the impurities attack injectors at the fuel pump, leading to premature failure. Even the cabin filter matters, because a clean ventilation system keeps moisture and mold out, reducing corrosion risk inside the HVAC system. Most filters should be swapped every 15,000 to 30,000 miles, though it varies by driving condition. Dusty roads, stop-and-go traffic, or poor fuel quality shorten that window. And it's not just about swapping filters. Keeping the engine bay clean matters too. Oil sludge, carbon buildup, and dirt deposits act like sandpaper on internal parts. Drivers who routinely clean injectors and intake valves and who prevent sludge buildup with regular oil changes are the ones who see their odometer spin past 500,000 miles. Filters help you breathe smoother, but your wheels, tires, and alignment also hugely affect wear. Your tires are the only part of the car that actually touches the road, yet they're also one of the most neglected. If you want your car to see 500,000 miles, you can't afford to ignore them. Start with tire pressure. Underinflated tires not only wear out faster, they also increase rolling resistance, forcing your engine to work harder and burn more fuel. Overinflated tires, on the other hand, wear unevenly and reduce traction. A quick check once a month can prevent thousands in wasted fuel and premature suspension wear. Next, rotation and alignment. Rotating tires spreads the workload evenly, extending their life. Alignment ensures the wheels point straight, reducing stress on the steering components and improving fuel economy. Driving too long with bad alignment, and you'll see tires shredded at the edges while your suspension groans under the extra load. Finally, suspension. Shocks and struts don't just make the ride comfortable, they absorb impact that would otherwise transfer into the chassis, steering rack, and even drivetrain. Neglect them and the stress multiplies across the entire vehicle. Even with perfect alignment, what about the kinds of roads you drive on and how you handle rough terrain? No matter how tough your car is, the road will always win if you fight it. Potholes, rough gravel, and endless speed bumps are silent killers of suspension, wheels, and steering. Every time you hit a pothole at speed, you're not just rattling the cabin, you're slamming thousands of pounds of force through the shocks, struts, and wheel bearings. Over time, this leads to bent rims, leaking shocks, and steering components that wear out long before their time. Gravel roads, they sandblast paint and chip glass. Extreme heat bakes rubber hoses until they crack, while freezing temps thicken fluids and stress batteries. Even where you park matters. Keeping your car in the shade or a garage protects paint, rubber, and electronics from UV damage and temperature swings. If you live in a region with road salt, washing the undercarriage regularly can be the difference between a car that lasts 15 years and one that rusts out in half that. And when harsh conditions can't be avoided, slow down. Simple speed reductions massively cut the stress delivered to every component. Good protection helps, but what about diagnosing trouble early? Every car whispers before it screams. The problem is, most drivers don't listen. Ignoring a small warning sign is how minor issues snowball into catastrophic failures. That faint squeal when you start the car, probably a worn belt. Ignore it and it could snap, taking out your alternator or water pump in the process. A tiny coolant drip under the radiator, that's an early leak. Leave it and you could face an overheated engine and a cracked head gasket. Even a flickering check engine light or a vibration at highway speed is your car begging for attention. Drivers who make it past 500,000 miles have a simple habit. They don't wait. If a light comes on, they scan it. If a new sound appears, they track it down. By fixing small problems immediately, they avoid massive repair bills and keep their car's systems running in balance. You're watching everything, but what about how much load you put on your car? That's crucial too. Your car was designed with specific limits: payload, towing capacity, and cargo weight. Exceed those and you're silently killing its longevity. Overloading doesn't just make the car feel sluggish, it puts enormous strain on the engine and transmission, which work harder than designed. Brakes have to fight against extreme mass, wearing pads and rotors prematurely. Suspension components sag and fail faster, while tires run hotter and wear unevenly. Even roof racks packed with heavy cargo shift the car's balance, increasing rollover risk and stressing welds in ways engineers never planned for. The same goes for misuse. Long periods of idling dilute oil and wear down components without mileage to show for it. Constant short trips with heavy loads never let the engine reach optimal temperature, accelerating sludge buildup. If you want 500,000 miles, respect the limits. Your car isn't a pack mule, it's a machine with tolerances. Finally, you need habits outside the engine bay and road surface. Let's talk about storage, protection, and longevity. Even if you treat your car perfectly on the road, the environment can slowly destroy it while it sits still. Protection is the hidden key to longevity. Parking in a garage or under a cover shields your car from UV rays that fade paint, crack dashboards, and dry out rubber seals. Extreme heat bakes fluids and weakens batteries. Moisture leads to rust, especially in regions with salty air or winter road salt. Rust doesn't just eat away at fenders, it attacks brake lines, fuel tanks, and structural components. Washing the undercarriage after winter, applying protective coatings, and sealing vulnerable spots with rust inhibitors makes a massive difference in long-term survival. Even something as simple as regular waxing helps protect clear coat and prevent corrosion. Drivers who protect their cars from the elements aren't being obsessive, they're ensuring that everything from electronics to body panels lasts decades, not just years. These 10 habits will get you most of the way, but there's one more habit, often ignored, that can make or break for 500,000 miles. Here's the secret most people miss. It's not just about what you do, it's about what you track. Drivers who reach 500,000 miles almost always keep meticulous records. Every oil change, every set of brake pads, every fluid flush, it all gets written down. Why? Because documentation keeps you honest. It tells you exactly when the next job is due, prevents skipped maintenance, and helps spot patterns. But there's another layer, knowing your car's weaknesses. Every make and model has common failure points. Maybe it's a Honda with an automatic transmission that needs extra care. Maybe it's a Toyota with a timing chain that stretches if oil changes are skipped. By researching forums, recalls, and service bulletins, you can fix problems before they happen. Detailed records don't just save your car, they also help mechanics troubleshoot faster and add serious value if you ever sell. Documentation turns guesswork into a plan, and that plan is what keeps cars alive far beyond their expected lifespan. The truth is, you don't have to do everything perfectly to see huge gains. Even starting with one or two of these habits will drastically extend your car's life, save you thousands in repairs, and bring you closer to that legendary 500,000-mile milestone. But here's the catch. Ignore them, and your car won't just fail you, it'll bleed you dry. Your engine's fate depends entirely on what you do next.